Next on Startup, we meet up with Rodrika and Francina James, the owners of the Cochran House, a 150-year-old historic home turned luxury bed and breakfast. All this and more is next on Startup. My name is Gary Brado. I'm a documentary filmmaker and an entrepreneur. As the country faces extraordinary challenges, small business owners everywhere are doing all they can to keep their dream alive. So we set out to talk to a wide range of diverse business owners to better understand how they've learned to adapt, innovate, and completely reinvent themselves. This is Startup. Houses are increasingly being designated as historic in the United States as a way to resuscitate neighborhoods and increase the economic health of surrounding areas. Designating a house as historic tends to increase the value of the house as well as others in the same neighborhood. This can result in increased development of nearby properties and create a ripple effect that spreads to the surrounding neighborhoods. Today I'm going to meet up with Rodrika and Francina James, the owners of the Cochran House, a 150-year-old historic home turned bed and breakfast. I love hearing stories about bringing new life and energy into an old space. And from what I've learned about the Cochran House, the James sisters spared no expense when it came to renovating this incredible property. I can't wait to hear their story and take a tour.
Hi.
Oh, hey, how's
Welcome
it
to
going?
the Cochran House.
Wow, look at this place. Thank you for having us.
Not a problem, not
Oh
a
my
problem.
God. No.
May I please take your temperature?
Absolutely.
Okay. You're good.
Am I? Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you
Definitely.
for welcoming us in today. This place is absolutely incredible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
The pictures online are beautiful, but just the open scale of it,
Yeah.
it doesn't do it justice. My gosh.
We love that. We love to hear that. So let
Wow.
me show you around a little bit.
Yes, please. I'm excited.
So this is the open lounge area. So this is where, guests come and they usually kind of chill. In the wintertime by the fireplace, they like
Yeah.
to sit here and look at the different artwork on the walls.
Man, this is unlike any bed and breakfast I've ever seen.
Thank you. Thank you so
Wow.
much. Thank
Upstairs?
you so much. Yes, we're
Okay.
going upstairs. We have 3 guest rooms. So we have 2 standard rooms and 1 guest suite.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna start by showing you the suite. So let's head this
Yes.
way. So this is the suite, and in this suite, there's a small living area right here, and then we have a double bed, and there's also a steam sauna shower in this room. So
What?
people like to get in the wet steam and kind of chill and relax. This is one of the standard rooms that we're going into, and this room has a queen-size bed and also has a trundle that pulls out. We do a lot of girls' retreats and those kind of things,
Yeah.
and they like to come and rent the entire house out.
Right.
And they love it, and so we have extra beds as well. And this is our 3rd standard room, and this room has a balcony. So if you want to kind of step outside,
Yeah.
those kind of things, get some fresh air. It's a small balcony with 2 chairs and a table out there. You can choose to have your breakfast out there. So yeah.
And the location, like overlooking Comerica Park. Are
I
you
know.
kidding me right now?
We're surrounded by all 3 stadiums. So Comerica Park, Little Caesars Arena, and Ford Field are less than a 5-minute walk away from here.
Well, when everything comes back.
When
I mean,
everything comes back, you know.
You're poised.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for the tour, first off, and I'd love to sit down and talk a little bit about how this place got to this point? Because I'm assuming that it looks a little bit different now than when you guys purchased it.
Yeah, very different. It was basically completely gutted when we got it. The first thing that we did was we opened up the walls. We wanted to make it an open floor plan so we can have great, interaction between guests. You know, so we wanted to make it an open place so when people came into the bed and breakfast, they would feel like family. And so I think we've accomplished that.
When you first bought the property, you walked in, was it like, I would be overwhelmed because I'm not a renovation guy by any stretch of the imagination. How did you see it?
Of course, the first thing that I noticed was the outside. It was a beautiful, historic home. So that was the thing that that really got my attention. When I walked in, I imagined in my own space because I love design, I love decorating, I love those things. I was the type to not want to play with the Barbie dream house. I wanted to, create my Barbie's penthouse on top of the bar in the basement. And then you would have to go up the elevator, and it was all an open floor plan. And the Barbie couch was on one side, and I would take this basket and make a bed because I wanted my Barbie to have a king size bed and not just a regular Barbie bed. So it's one of those things where the design for me wasn't anything because it's something that I was doing all my life. And so it's funny, my mom has passed on, but when we first walked in the house together, she was just like, Rika, are you sure about this property? Because this is a lot of work. And I was like, I'm definitely sure because I saw the vision of what I wanted it to be when I walked through the front door. So yeah, I love this place.
The house was first built in 1870, and it was by Dr. Terry. And Dr. Terry, he was an ophthalmologist, and so he sold the house to Lyman Cochran, who was a Superior Court judge, and I think he was also a senator. And so what happened, he purchased the house, he had an extensive library. We plan to do that one day.
Nice.
But he had an extensive library, and it was kind of known as his house, and that was the reason why we named it the Cochran House after Lyman Cochran.
What were your initial thoughts on buying, something that needed a lot of
Oh
work?
my gosh. So the thing is that my sister, she's more of a visionary, like I said. She can see potential in things that looks like a rock. When I saw it develop over time, I started to get the vision at that point because I'm not the artistic person between the two of us.
Numbers.
Yes, I'm pretty much numbers. But the thing was that we had Comerica Park that was across the street.
Right.
We had Ford Field that was down the street. And so when we decided to do it initially, we thought, okay, there's not a lot of hotels that are in the area.
Nice.
And so that was the reason why we decided to do it here.
Did you have like a background, or your family have any sort of background in real estate or development or anything? How did you get, what made you want to do this?
And I always say is in divine order just because my grandfather worked at Farmer Jack, but he came from Tallapoosa, Georgia. So he was always a person that believed that you need to purchase the home that you're in. And so even in Tallapoosa, it was a shack, but he built it. It was always, for us, one of those things where purchasing a home was very important, and it was one of those things that could keep wealth in your family.
Yeah, and instilling those values are so incredibly important for people to understand and hear. Can you talk a little bit about generational wealth?
Real estate purchase is definitely a gateway to generational wealth.
Of course.
Of course it is, because with that, now you can leverage your equity. Now you can purchase more because of what you have, and you can get loans if you keep your credit, together. Mine is not perfect. I'm an entrepreneur, so, that's how it goes. But you have something to fall back on, and these are the things that we need to start doing to help, the next generation, have a footprint. And I think it starts with home ownership and creating wealth.
What can you buy a property like this for?
This house is probably worth maybe 2.5 million, 2 million, 2.5 million at this point. In 2010, we purchased it for $85,000. It's interesting because when we first purchased the house, Little Caesars Arena wasn't down the street.
Right.
You know, Comerica Park was still across the street, but Little Caesars Arena and all the economic development that was happening in the city right now, it wasn't happening at the time that we purchased.
Right, that was like empty fields, and I think there was a bar.
Exactly.
And a couple beat up houses, and that was about
That was it. That was it.
How long was the full renovation start to finish?
It took us about 5 years for renovation. And so I called my sister the general contractor of it because she was here day in, day out. I mean, she basically oversaw everything that happened here. It was kind of like we had kind of delegated that as her full-time job. And so she made sure that it happened.
We had to do plumbing, we had to do electrical, we had to get approvals, we had to do structural, we had to make sure that, you know, there was, you know, the fire caulk, you know, between the, you know, all of those things
Triple wall,
all of those things that you don't think about, you know, you're now thinking about. I always say that if I knew what I was getting into before I got into it, I probably wouldn't have done it.
I'm glad you didn't know.
Right, I'm glad, because God always protects babies and fools. So, you know, you go into you go into a situation and you thinking you know, and you really don't, but you know, like I said, we got to the end and it was a lot. It was a lot, I won't lie to you. It was very, very difficult.
People may look at this and say, this is unattainable because the money has to be like a crazy amount of money to do something like this. So how did you guys get the financing?
When real estate was really, really cheap, I had a real estate bug. So when I was like living in Georgia, I'm like, oh, well, instead of renting, I'm not gonna spend $2,000 a month to rent something when now houses are $24,000. So at that time, I started purchasing houses because they were so cheap. Not really knowing that, you know, a few years later when I started to develop this place, that I would use those same purchases
to leverage
the building out of my bed and breakfast. Because now that same house that I bought for $24,000, I'm able to sell it for $200.
Had you not done that?
Had I not done that, this place would not be here.
You're a brilliant designer.
Thank you so much.
This place is so incredible and tasteful,
so much.
And it's just perfect.
Thank you so much.
What's your philosophy sort of behind design? What are you going for
Comfort.
here?
The thing that I saw when I was growing up in my mom's house, she always had a fire burning. She always had incense burning, comfort, and music. That was our everyday life.
You're making me relaxed.
Yeah. And so from those things, I know that there's a certain spirit that you have to have when you go into someone's house that you want them to feel comfortable. Initially, when I first thought about the bed and breakfast, I didn't know that I wanted it to have this cultural feel. And this is honest, because bed and breakfasts are not traditionally done by African American people. It was funny because we were talking about the house and someone brought to my attention that the first Black hospital was like right on the other side of this house, Mercy General Hospital. So Dr. Northcross was the first African American hospital on Winder Street in the city of Detroit. And it was a 3-room hospital. And it's just so coincidental because we have 3 guest rooms in the bed and breakfast, and I thought that, you know, this is amazing. You know, we are a stone's throw from old Black Bottom. So one of the visions that we have for this bed and breakfast is to make sure that African American culture is represented and not forgotten in this area that's drastically changing so quickly.
I want viewers to understand a little bit about the historical sort of significance of this area that we're in. So where are we right now?
We are in Brush Park. Brush Park is an area right outside of Midtown, between Midtown and downtown Detroit. So Paradise Valley was a stone's throw right on the other side of Brush Street. And it was known between the 1930s and 50s, it was known to, during the time, to have a lot of Black business, a lot of African American commerce in that area. It birthed a lot of jazz music, art, a lot of those things, and those are some of the things that I wanted to bring and represent in the Cochran House. But unfortunately, during the U.S. Freeway Act, it was demolished because they installed 75 right behind the house.
Right.
And the whole area was kind of demolished. You know, that's the history, and some of that culture is what we wanted to see represented at the Cochran House. Why? Because we're right there, and like I was explaining earlier, you know, there's a lot of culture that the city of Detroit has, and I feel like, you know, it's our obligation, being born and raised here,
right,
to represent, you know, that throughout.
And I feel like things like that can be, I hate to use the word during the time we're in, but contagious. You know, you see somebody operating such a beautiful, this successful, you know, bed and breakfast operation, and then, you know, another business across the street and another one down the street, and that's how areas revitalize.
Exactly, and that's what you want, right? You don't just want it to be one of something, and you know, you want people to come together as a community and build. Yeah. And that's really, and I mean, the backbone of America is small business. So, correct, you know, you want people to have those kind of inspirations as you're doing things like that.
Let's talk about the experience from the time that a guest arrives.
The thing that we pride ourselves on is the fact that we want to treat everybody like family when they come through the door.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just kind of how we approach it. So the thing is that before COVID, everybody got a hug when they came through the door. Yeah. Now, you know, we got to kind of cut that down a little
elbow
bit.
Pump.
Yeah, elbow bump. Basically, we check them in, we take their temperature. We also offer a PPE kit. We offer them a wine and cheese plate.
Nice.
We do, right. And so the thing is, they can kind of loosen up a little bit.
Let's get comfortable now.
Exactly, exactly. They can loosen up a little bit. We offer that to them. But we want people to feel safe and at home, and especially if, and we don't bother you. The thing is that we stay out the way. So if people want to come here and have interactions with their husbands, fiancés, girlfriends, whatever it is, we provide the service that they need, but we also provide them the privacy that they need to be able to, you know, enjoy it. We can do either breakfast in the rooms. We are doing it in the rooms now.
Yeah.
But we used to have it
communal table.
Absolutely, communal table. You know, it's individualized breakfasts. So basically, you know, it's not a buffet. You know, we make whatever it is that you want.
Yeah.
And then people would come down and we would just talk about everybody's different experiences. So it was just like, that used to be really exciting.
Do you guys actually prepare the meals, or you have staff that come?
We do.
You do?
Yeah, we do.
Tell me your name and where you guys are from.
I'm Christina Stockdale. This is my husband, Mark Stockdale.
Yeah.
And we're from Detroit.
You're from the city, live in the city. Why come here and have a staycation so close to home?
Well, I mean, we're parents of young children. We have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. So sometimes that's a need. You can't necessarily do a staycation in the house with such busy people.
Right.
So, you know, for any married couple, any couple coming that needs that getaway, that needs that alone time, you know, that's important.
What do you think about the place itself?
What the Cochran House did differently, in my opinion, is just kind of giving you a lot of the luxury elements that you get from a big brand hotel,
right,
without losing the intimacy that you get in a bed and breakfast.
It's right in that perfect zone.
That is like kind of the demand, because otherwise a lot of people is just converting your, you know, old wall panel basements into bed and breakfasts, and there's a bed and breakfast capital of Michigan, Sagatuck, but I think Cochran House gives them the run for their money, because
that house we stayed in, I didn't like that. That grandma, that little ass bed we was in.
What would you say to folks coming into Detroit to visit, looking for a place to stay?
Oh, you definitely got to do Cochran House. You can't go anywhere else without the Cochran House.
You in the middle of the mix.
Yeah, you are.
Right?
Yeah, you're
surrounded,
walking distance
literally.
to everything. The food is phenomenal. The showers, the bathrooms, are phenomenal. The deep soaker tubs. I mean,
It's high tech.
Yeah,
It's high tech.
it is. It is. You know, just the design itself, and then it still just feels like a high-end home, luxury home. And guests like us, that's what we like.
What types of events do you hold here? Like weddings and stuff like that? Talk about your event
So
bookings.
we've had weddings.
Yeah.
We do live music events. We do girls retreats. We do all types of events.
What's some of the feedback that you get from guests that come in here?
It's interesting because every time someone walks in, they say that the website does the place no justice. They say that when they walk in the door, they say,
Right.
"Oh my goodness, this place is so much better than the pictures."
Right.
And
they're not bad pictures, by the way. They're gorgeous pictures,
you.
but when you walk in, it's like,
Thank you. Yeah,
Oh
and
my gosh,
we
it's
love
overwhelming.
it. We love it. I wanted it to be a place where people would be comfortable in their jeans and their t-shirts, but also still feel like they're in a very nice upscale establishment. The people that come in, they love it. We still have a 5-star rating on Google, which I'm so surprised at. But that's because it's funny because the people that walk through our doors, when they leave, they're really like family.
In March, when everything sort of hit and became really real, what were some of the things going through your mind, some of the fears, thoughts, both personally and professionally?
How are we gonna do this? I wanna say 80% of our business definitely came from the arenas. It was a lot of speculation around in the area that some of the event venues will not open back up until 2021.
Oh, wow.
And so that cuts our business down a lot, until 2021. So we were just kind of like, well, how can we do this?
Yeah.
I know I ended up picking up a small job in order to make it through until we know that everything else will increase.
Where are we gonna get, our customers? Was a question that we have and we still have. We're concerned about it. So now we have to try to figure out how we're pivoting to, the local audience. And we're trying to figure out what partnerships we can create for staycations and those kind of things.
Staycations.
Exactly.
I could use one.
Exactly. Trying to, make this place as comfortable as possible. And with us being a very small establishment, we can keep a good hand on sanitation and those kind of, things that people are very concerned about during COVID.
And I think people want to get out of the house.
They do. They do.
Big time.
They do.
But they want to do it safely.
Definitely. We've actually created some partnerships with, a helicopter company and hot air balloon company. So COVID-friendly, kind of things that, only 2 people in a basket or 2 people in a helicopter, that kind of thing. So so people can kind of feel like they're getting away, but not necessarily getting away.
Looking ahead into the future, if things start to ease up a little bit, what is the ultimate goal? Where would you be in a couple of years? Is it another one?
That's what my sister and I have talked about.
Okay.
So we've talked about how to turn this place into a place that can be represented in another city. Trying to put together how that would look and how we can build in ownership, actual equity ownership in the people that work with us in helping to build the Cochran House, and other places.
What's the impression that you hope to leave people with after they meet you or visit Cochran House?
I hope everybody felt like they were at home. I hope everybody feels like when they come through our doors and they leave out through their doors, they feel like family at some point. If everybody can leave out with a positive experience and feeling like they were well taken care of, then we've done our job.
I truly believe that happiness and fulfillment in your professional life are directly tied to your why, or reason for what you do. I think that it's this emotional investment that helps get you through the tough times, and it gives you an edge when it comes to your level of commitment. For the James sisters, the Cochran House is much more than just a bed and breakfast. It's part of a bigger picture, a beautiful addition to their real estate portfolio that's building generational wealth and inspiring other people in their community to make sure they own their own property. I believe that these two brilliant women would be successful at just about anything they decided to do, and it was an honor to spend time with them and hear their story.
Would you like to learn more about the show or maybe nominate a business? Visit our website at startup-usa.com and connect with us on social media.